Village.
Alright, 10-14 is the next time I'm going to put down in front of you.
Yep.
To choose from. That
It says expect great things, and great things will come.
It's not surprising that people focused on the mystery at the end. Although she'd memorized only a few lines before going out in the boat, nearly everything that comes out of her mouth over those 3 minutes seems scripted now. Expect great things, and great things will come.
First thing I think is settling on what I want to shoot. But I think part of that is not just what's in the photographs, but the medium of them and how I might want to play with the idea of the medium.
Sort of this starkness to the black and white images, while at the same time we seem to be looking at situations of almost childish glee and somber thoughtfulness.
She steps into the surf, half in, half out, and it would be so easy to let the tide carry her out, to sink to the bottom of the sea, a place where plankton drifted by like clouds. And then she is in this world again. And she feels someone take her hand, her husband. He looks searchingly into her eyes. Over and over he asks, "What's the matter? What's the matter?"
I guess as far as music goes, without having even decided or thought too much about what I'm actually going to do musically, I'm already hearing depressing music to go with a depressing story. So this entire project is going to be very depressing. I'm sorry to say to those of you watching this.
Mix of like country and Asian stuff going on there, and there's a lot of humor.
It was so much about like physical presence, about it was like a character and there was a story. There was something very intimate in the situation which made you feel like on the verge of awkwardness, which I thought was interesting.
My first thoughts were like, it seemed like this very kind of like if aliens came down and took just like a spattering of like samples of like sounds and imagery and different ways of looking at things, and like this is an activity that people do.
Here are some findings and conclusions from Earth Study number 1. First slide, please. Our first slide tells us a great deal about life on Earth. It is a chaotic place where the seemingly more sophisticated of the species, man, run in fear from the brute strength and speed of their animal counterparts. Yes, men are clearly the lowest of the food chain here, forced to run for their survival and wear humiliating red sashes.
If the aliens came down in these moments, it would be a bad time, or a bad time for aliens to judge our Earth. Which could either mean it's bad because they wouldn't get a fair impression of the whole thing because these are kind of unusual moments of life. Or it could mean that this person who took these images wouldn't want aliens to have these impressions of the Earth.
When will I feel the fire of the sun in my love? When will I hear the song that is sung through everyone, even aliens?
Because the tone was so, this is the rebellious side of me, because the tone was so smooth and he's kind of asking questions and stuff like that. So my other idea was to kind of, to be that other voice that kind of answers that, and that may come off as a lot more jarring, because right now it seems very like melancholy. So I might go a whole other 180 direction.
I am not my flesh. Beneath these bones and breath, beyond death, rests so much more. My sorrow is centuries old, I am recyclable, my essence extraterrestrial, orchestrating the orbit, sketching the solar system, painting planets, coloring constellations, and writing revelations, all while uniting the universe. I'm pretty darn busy.
Initially, it was just watching him, the way he moved, and his hands, and his face, and just more the physical performance. I think I was really taken by.
And for me, it was the movement in his language more than the actual words, especially the first time through. The starts, the stops, the rhythms, and also the contrast in the actual images.
Un petit oiseau sur un oranger, un petit oiseau sur un oranger, sur un arlette, sur un arlette, sur un oranger. La branche était sèche, la branche a cassé, la branche était sèche, la branche a cassé, la branche arlette, la branche arlette, la branche.
You've been reading cards, haven't you?
I've been doing the accounts.
Come on, read my future for me.
You haven't got any.
What do you mean?
Your future is all used up.
There's a lot of lighting involved, and so, as a writer, that's one of the things that immediately springs to mind, is that grappling with that, whether it's following it or in opposition to it, dealing with the lighting is somehow something that, certainly for a piece like this, demands to be done. The dark as well as the lighting. I mean, in this case, it's probably more dark than light.
Who would sit across the table from him and scowl at his jokes? Who would run her fingers through his hair and tell him, without too much irony, that it was her greatest pleasure? His eyes began to fill with tears. Through them, he thought he saw a man in a knit cap approach Sylvie or Marie and touch her once on the shoulder. Her spirit left her body and rose into the sky. A string of lights trailed behind her. Joe wished her peace. He wished her love. The rest of the sandwich came up. My grandmother finished soaping us, rinsed us off, and went for the towels.